Are you ready for a great adventure? Today on The World is Yours. We're off to the Canary Islands to explore the always colorful Tenerife, enjoy its beautiful beaches, and admire the majesty of the Teide Volcano. Then we're headed to Canada, where we'll visit 3 of its magical cities, Toronto, Vancouver, and Montreal. And we'll cap off our adventure in the Canton of Graubünden, or Graubünden, where we'll hit the same slopes used for the Winter Olympics, twice. Grab your gear and get ready for another unforgettable adventure. The world is waiting, and the world is yours. Welcome to the Canary Islands. This archipelago, which means group of islands, in Spain, is made up of 7 islands: El Hierro, La Gomera, La Palma, and Tenerife, which form the province of Santa Cruz de Tenerife and Gran Canaria. Fuerteventura and Lanzarote, which make up the province of Las Palmas de Gran Canaria. Our first stop is the Teide National Park, which is on the island of Tenerife. Known for its stunning natural landscapes, ranging from lush forests to deep valleys, such as La Esperanza, the Teide National Park is a photographer's dream. The centerpiece of the park is the Teide, a volcano that rises over 12,000 feet above sea level, which makes it the highest peak in Spain. There are 2 equally interesting ways to visit this striking volcano. We can either hike along the winding trail leading to the base of the volcano, a journey that could take up to 6 hours. Or, if that sounds exhausting, we can take a cable car right to the edge of the summit. Either route will reward you with incredible panoramic views, with out-of-this-world colors, thanks to the way the sun strikes the island. If, by chance, the weather isn't as clear as we might have hoped for, we have nothing to worry about, because the sea of clouds at our feet will make it all worthwhile. And from these mystifying heights, we can descend down to the Playa de las Teresitas for some much-needed fun in the sun and in the beautiful waters. We can scuba dive into the depths of the ocean to explore the coral reefs and admire the colorful fish that live there. In 1973, 270,000 tons of white sand were brought over from Western Sahara to make this beach. That's about 4 million bags of sand. The sand was used to replenish the sand that had been lost by erosion. If you're feeling hungry, the local fishermen have you covered. Seafood here is very fresh, like cherne, which is a boneless wreckfish, and vieja, which is a parrotfish commonly served on the island. It is usually accompanied by the traditional papas arrugadas, or wrinkly potatoes, boiled in their skins in salty water and served with a chili pepper garlic sauce known as mojo picon or mojo rojo. A tasty meal is always a good pick-me-up to restore your energy and keep you moving through your journey. But not everything revolves around the sea life and mountains in Tenerife. The city is dynamic too. Asphalt, art, and culture all collide in this melting pot, and it offers a lot to explore. Welcome to Santa Cruz de Tenerife, the capital of Tenerife since 1833. The municipal market, Nuestra Señora de Africa, is our first stop. Here, you can indulge all your senses with the variety of fresh vegetables, legumes, which are peas and beans, fruits, and seafood. The market has a wide range of inviting aromas that are certain to make you hungry. It's truly an oasis for food lovers, for those simply looking to buy groceries, as well as for those taste bud connoisseurs willing to try new things. And if you really want to learn about the culture, you can immerse yourself in all the art at the Tenerife Art Space, known as El Tea, or Tenerife Espacio de las Artes. Here, you can view collections of some of the most famous paintings and sculptures in all of Europe. Plays staged by well-known directors and contemporary artists all have a place in this art center. It's a truly free-spirited atmosphere for creativity. But the art isn't limited to just what we find inside. Here in Santa Cruz, the Adán Martín Auditorio de Tenerife is a masterpiece all its own. It was designed by the architect Santiago Calatrava. The facility is filled with state-of-the-art lighting and amazing acoustics. The auditorium has hosted all kinds of big concerts across different musical genres. It's an authentic and breathtaking concert hall. It has become an architectural symbol of the city of Santa Cruz de Tenerife and is a great representation of Spanish architecture. When we return, we'll visit a new and exotic destination. But first, let's test your world knowledge. In 1883, Canadian athlete Arthur Irwin popularized a very important piece of sports equipment. Was it A, the hockey stick, B, the baseball glove, C, the tennis ball, D, swimming goggles? The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. In 1883, Canadian athlete Arthur Irwin popularized a very important piece of sports equipment. Was it A, the hockey stick, B, the baseball glove, C, the tennis ball, D, swimming goggles? If you answered B, the baseball glove, you're right. The baseball glove was made popular by Arthur Irwin, a Canadian, while he was playing for the Providence Grays in Providence, Rhode Island in 1883. It's obviously a really important piece of equipment for playing baseball, and it has evolved a lot since then, but this was its beginning. Thanks to Arthur Irwin, you can catch a baseball without hurting your hand. And with that, we've made it to our next destination, Canada. Canada is a country with a diverse culture. It's a mixture of Native American traditions, colonial influences from France and Great Britain, and is welcoming to people from different parts of the world in search of new adventures. Canada is the second largest country in the world in terms of landmass. Only Russia is bigger. But even so, it has a smaller population than the state of California. This means that a large part of the country is still uninhabited and relatively unexplored. The country is famous for its extensive natural resources. In fact, its cities have been designed to integrate and preserve parks, green spaces, and woodlands. And so, Canada has a lot to offer when you step out into the great outdoors. Get ready to be inspired, surprised, and enjoy the adventure. Let's head to the Yukon Territory. This scarcely populated, beautiful wilderness has a very compelling history. The Yukon Territory was the setting for the 1898 Klondike Gold Rush, when flocks of gold seekers rushed over to try their luck at finding the precious and valuable metal. The rush didn't last long, but the beauty the Yukon has to offer has. This expansive terrain is covered with mountains and plateaus, and in the winter, a natural wonder, the aurora borealis, floods the night sky. This dramatic light show provided by Mother Nature is an amazing display that is caused when charged particles from the sun strike the Earth's atmosphere. This interaction causes the electrons to release light, which creates the mesmerizing light show. Let's keep this outdoor exploration going by heading east to Toronto, a city in Ontario, Canada. In addition to being a dynamic city, Toronto has all kinds of outdoor magic for us to enjoy, starting with Lake Ontario. Lake Ontario is the smallest of the 5 Great Lakes. But that doesn't mean it's small. It covers 7,340 miles, stretching along the northwest shore of the city. Wide and vast, Lake Ontario is home to a region called the Thousand Islands, which is a group of, you guessed it, over 1,000 islands, hence the name. These islands line the border of Canada and the US. Hop on board a boat tour and check out everything there is to see around here. Castles, lighthouses, and the amazing wildlife, which includes foxes, coyotes, deer, and snakes. Lake Ontario is also famous for being connected to a big global tourist destination, Niagara Falls. Yes, Lake Ontario is located at the base of the falls. The giant waterfall flows 3,160 tons of water every second. Yes, you heard that right, 3,160 tons. A famous kind of salad dressing was born here too. Can you guess which one? Here's a hint. Remember the islands we talked about earlier? Yes, Thousand Island dressing was invented right here. Now that we're on to food, we should probably try one of Canada's favorites. Beaver tails. This fried pastry, in the shape of a beaver's tail, is dusted with cinnamon and can be topped off with your favorite topping: whipped cream, caramel, ice cream, chocolate, whatever you like. Just be ready to dig in, eh? Now that we've satisfied our sweet tooth, let's keep things moving at Bay of Fundy. Located in New Brunswick, nearly 600 miles east of Lake Ontario, this bay was declared a natural wonder by experts back in 2014, and we can see why. The bay is home to some of the world's most rare whales, precious minerals, and even dinosaur fossils. Yes, you heard that right, dinosaurs. This coastal paradise is decorated with breathtaking cliffs, caves, and incredible rock formations. You can experience all the wonder this place has to offer by wandering through the hiking trails, kayaking along the coastline, or, if you're feeling slightly more adventurous, rafting through the rivers. There's no time to waste. We've indulged in some of Canada's sweetest pastries and checked out some of the natural wonders it has to offer. We could stay here all day, but it's time to say goodbye for now, because we're headed to our next destination. When we return, we'll find out why the Canton of Graubünden is one of the most visited places in Europe. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Which of these countries is a big exporter of chocolate? Is it A, Venezuela, B, Switzerland, C, Australia, D, Brazil? The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Which of these countries is a big exporter of chocolate? A, Venezuela, B, Switzerland, C, Australia, D, Brazil. If you answered B, Switzerland, you're right. Switzerland is a major chocolate exporter, one of the largest in the world. Sweet! Our first stop here in Switzerland is the Canton of Graubünden, or Graubünden. Graubünden is a group of little mountain villages full of enchantment, where you can experience nature in all its splendor and tranquility. These towns aren't major tourist destinations. So much of the natural beauty has been preserved. Graubünden is also known as the Canton of Graubünden. So I guess the first question is, what's a canton? Well, cantons are small states that have their own constitutions and their own laws. In this way, each one is able to make its own decisions with a certain amount of independence. The Canton of Graubünden is one of the 26 cantons that form Switzerland. And interestingly, it's the only canton that has 3 official languages: German, Italian, and Romansh. It also has some amazing skiing, so let's hit the slopes. We'll start our ski tour at St. Moritz, host of the Winter Olympics, not once, but twice. St. Moritz has about 220 miles of ski runs stretching across dramatic, snow-covered mountain peaks. If you're an experienced skier looking for a great day on the slopes, St. Moritz is for you, since here you will find some of the steepest runs in all of Switzerland. In addition to skiing, jump on a toboggan and race down the ice channel on the Cresta Run. Or hop into a bobsleigh and cruise along the Bob Run, one of the oldest and biggest natural runs in the world. St. Moritz also has miles of hiking and mountain biking trails, making St. Moritz an ideal place for outdoor adventure, no matter the season. Well, let's board the train for the next stop on our adventure, because the Bernina Express is about to leave the station. The trip we're about to take will last 4 hours on a route that runs in both directions between Chur or Davos through St. Moritz to Tirano in Italy. There are 25 stops along the way where we can get off and enjoy the small towns and villages. After wandering around for a bit, we just hop on the next train to continue the trip. The Bernina Express runs all year long, and if you visit in the springtime, you'll have pretty views of the green fields and colorful farming villages with a special alpine charm. If you come in the winter, most of the views will be frozen lakes and mountains covered with snow and skiers. Not bad either way. The other tour that we can take is on the Glacier Express, aboard the famous panoramic train connecting St. Moritz with Zermatt here in Switzerland. This is an unforgettable visual trip through the heart of the Swiss Alps. The Glacier Express may not be a very fast express train, as it takes about 7.5 hours to cover its route, but it's one that goes through 91 tunnels and crosses 291 bridges, including the Oberalp Pass, making this a really unique experience. Here you will not only enjoy the views of the Swiss Alps, but the cuisine as well, like the traditional dish, Alplermagronen. Similar to American mac and cheese, this plate is made with potatoes, macaroni, cheese, cream, onions, and stewed apples on the side. Delicious! When we come back, we'll continue to discover the charms of the Swiss Alps. But first, let's test your world knowledge. Which city is the unofficial capital of Switzerland? A. Zurich. B. Geneva. C. Lugano. D. Bern. The answer coming up when we return to The World is Yours. We're back. Let's find out the answer to our question. Which city is the unofficial capital of Switzerland? A. Zurich. B. Geneva. C. Lugano. D. Bern. If you chose D. Bern, you're right. Yes, Bern is considered the unofficial capital of Switzerland. It's also one of the most enchanting cities in Europe. One thing we have to do is try the local cuisine, and here, it's all about the cheeses and chocolates. In Engelberg, you'll find Schaukieserei Kloster, an artisan cheese-making monastery. Visitors can watch as the cheese-making process takes place and even sample some of the cheeses. In addition to its delicious cheeses, Switzerland is also famous because it is home to a few lakes, and it shares borders and waters with France and Italy. And it is also home to thermal waters that were discovered some 3,000 years ago. Our next stop on our Swiss adventure is the Swiss National Park. This park is in eastern Switzerland, near the Italian border. The park is a strict nature reserve and is part of the worldwide UNESCO Biosphere Reserve. The Swiss National Park was founded in 1914 and as such is the oldest in the Alps. From these paths, you can see mountain goats, alpine marmots, hares, lizards, and seemingly endless varieties of birds. It's the perfect place for adventurous ecotourism, as there are mountain refuges surrounded by beautiful views and impressive animal life. The visitor center is in Zernez and houses permanent exhibitions about the national park and some temporary exhibits about natural history. If you ever have the opportunity, don't miss out on enjoying an adventure in Switzerland. Well, that wraps up our trip for today. We visited the Canary Islands, where we explored the Teide Volcano and the picturesque streets of Santa Cruz de Tenerife. We explored Canada's natural wonders in the Yukon Territory and even experienced the Aurora Borealis. And we ended the day in the beautiful Swiss Alps. What a breathtaking place to close out our journey. Thanks for joining us on our trip around the world. There are many more adventures to come. Until next time, the world is waiting, and the world is yours.